Hello everyone, Treecks here and welcome back to F-Zero X plus the F-Zero X expansion kit Let's Play. And this is going to be part 8. And this is going to be the first part where we're not going to do Grand Prix race. Because after finishing off episode 7, I've actually decided to do things a little bit different. Last time we actually finished off Novice, remember? Did DD2 Cup and therefore finished off the game entirely on the lowest difficulty. So this Grand Prix mode we're actually not going to see today, because I have decided to actually cover something else in between all of the difficulties. I do consider this the end of Novice, and therefore we are going to cover the Death Race now. A small little extra mode that this game actually came with, where destroying all of the other machines on the track is actually the main goal instead of winning a race. Pretty interesting little mode, but still pretty fun to do. Let's go pick the captain himself. And let's go see what this Death Race is actually all about. Death Race always takes place on the same track. Just a standard straight track that actually goes in a loop. Pretty basic track. But we are not racing here in order to win the race. As you can see, there's no ranking. There's just a left and a number corresponding to the number of machines that are still on the track, not including yourself. As you can see, the lap itself is pretty basic, nothing too special about it. There's not even a lap counter, therefore indicating there's something else we need to do. This mode is all about how quickly can you kill all of the other racers. So, I think it's time to actually get started with that, don't you think? There's multiple ways you can actually approach this mode. I think this is the most basic one. Just start spinning and slow down and hope you hit as many people as you can. Although it's really difficult to actually perform properly. You can also do it with double tap, of course, by just double tapping into your opponents. My favorite way to actually kill opponents. You might have noticed in Grand Prix already. And only once everybody is out, then the race will end. Unless you actually kill yourself, of course. Run out of energy or fall off the track. Then it, of course, will also end. And your quickest time will actually get recorded. That's basically how this works. Like I said, content-wise not very big, but still worth showing off at least once. Or maybe twice. Because of course I did use an explanation in the beginning, so once I'm done I think I'll do it the second time, trying to do it seriously then. See how fast I can do this. Now that we know how it works, next time I can actually do it in a serious manner. Because of course, even if I do this twice, it's not going to take very long. I promise you, it's a pretty small little mode. I think it's unfortunate something like this didn't actually return in a later F-Zero game. This is a pretty fun concept in all honesty. The closest thing we actually saw to a death race in a later F-Zero game is a story mode mission of F-Zero GX. The fourth one, where we need to defeat Michael Chain's gang. And that's definitely a reference to this old death race mode from F-Zero X. But unfortunately it never really got expanded. It would have been fun if we actually saw modes like this where you can just play on the normal tracks and try to kill everybody. Now we're just limited to this, with all respect, boring track. And this is basically how it works. 2 minutes, 19 seconds actually gets recorded after destroying every machine on the track. But of course, this is not the time to be proud of. The first minute I spent by doing nothing but some explanation, so this time around I'm going to make sure I will try my best from the beginning. I'm only going to do it once, so if I don't get the time I'm satisfied with, I'm not going to try again. Unless I actually retire, then I of course will try again. Yeah, did I mention at the pit area there's actually no guide rails, so be careful there. Pit area is of course something you always want to go through in order to heal your energy. If you go too far to the left you will actually fall off the track. And yeah, that obviously does not count. So, let's try this again. Hopefully not miss too many people. Ooh, nice little group. Ooh. Fine. That really started attacking himself. I never really mentioned this before, but now that I think about it, the moment two people actually start attacking at the same time, therefore saying if another racer is actually entering a spin attack, and if you then try to spin attack them or double tap them, that won't work. If a machine is already in attacking mode, you can no longer attack it yourself. Pushing around should still be possible, but an attack on an attacking vehicle actually does not work. So the glowing that actually envelops a machine the moment an attack happens, you can kind of see that as a shield as well. If you are performing an attack and then you get attacked yourself, you are actually protected from that attack. With computer players that's a pretty rare sight, because they rarely attack, especially on the lower difficulties. But on higher difficulties you will see them using the spin attack a little bit more. And then it could be a pretty handy trick to remember. But Falcon actually escaped my attention. However, a couple of boots later, and he's still gone. Finish! And this time in 1 minute 31. In all honesty, still a time I could improve if I actually sit here for a while and try over and over again. But for the Let's Play, I think this is enough. So that leaves me only one thing left to do, and that is actually goofing around. What else did you expect from me? Of course I have a way to goof around in this mode. This is actually something I discovered when I was younger. It's pretty hard to perform, so excuse me if it actually does not work. But if you stand still on the track... Okay, this is not really what I wanted, so let's try again. If you stand still on the track with no energy left, all of the other racers will try to attack you. Whenever you're driving really slowly or stand still completely, you might have noticed it already in other parts of the game. But whenever the speed difference is really great, computer players are always programmed to attack. And they will bump into you at very high speeds. You can get knocked around really far. But like I said, it's really hard to perform, because usually your high speed destruction gets stopped at some point. But still fun to actually play around with occasionally. I think there's another short mode we can quickly cover. The Create Machine mode, which is actually part of the expansion kit. Coverage of this is also pretty basic, so we can actually combine it with the Death Race episode. We have been here before, of course. I actually explained how the super machines work in this game. However, the pre-programmed machines are of course not everything in this game. It is not called Create Machine for nothing. In a pretty basic way, you can actually create your own machine in this game. You can actually use the C buttons and the D-pad and the shoulder buttons in order to zoom out and move the camera in order to get a better view of the machine you're creating. But besides that, you're actually going to want to go in the parts menu in order to select the 3 parts an F-Zero machine actually exists out of. All 3 of them actually have 7 choices, so the choices are pretty limited in all honesty. But there's 7 types of front, rear and wings to actually pick from. So there's still over 300 possibilities in order to create a machine in this game. But compared to the F-Zero GX, this is still a pretty basic mode. In GX this actually gets expanded by a lot. But anyway, it's pretty obvious that whatever parts you actually pick, all of them will have a different weight and different stats actually attached to them. That's pretty much how this works. So you can select any parts you actually like in order to create a machine that looks nice, has good stats, and then try to race with it. It is that simple. Let's try to get the camera in a pretty nice angle so you can actually see what we're building. So let's put it in a good angle so we can actually see what we're doing. Something like this. That should work fine. Next up, we're going to talk about design. As you can see, there's 3 things you can actually pick from. And the first one is line. Here you can select up to 5 different types of lines, which are actually part of your wing. You can also put a mark on it. As you can see, there's 8 different types of stamps you can actually put on your machine. Does not really matter which one you pick. And you can of course also pick no mark. Also always an option. But now for the most important option in the menu, the settings. Here we can actually determine the settings of the machine. Everything is possible as long as the total number of stats actually does not exceed over 11. As you can see, if we put 2 stats on A, the third one can no longer be D or higher. 11 is the maximum number of stats, if you count A as being worth 5. So don't think you can actually cheese the game by creating an all-powerful machine that has AAA stats. that is not possible. But as long as you keep things fair, you can actually put any settings you'd like. But in order to test out this lightweight vehicle, I'm actually going to put all of my stats on E. And see how that actually works out. All of my body parts are of course all the lightest possible settings. So if I put my stats on the lowest possible settings, I have created the most lightweight vehicle possible in this game. Let's call this machine the Feather, because of being the featherweight of this project. Hey, and what do you know, it even fits, so... There we go, here's our Feather machine. Now, let's color it up a little bit, because of course color is also still an option. There's 4 things you can actually color in this game. The body I think is fine, because green is my favorite color, so... We're only going to color the other parts. The line I'm actually going to make... the line I actually want to make yellow, and it already is yellow, so... the number I can make... no, let's do it the other way around. I'll make the number yellow, and then I'll make the cockpit... No, the cockpit's the eyes. The eyes should be yellow. Yeah, if it isn't obvious, I'm trying to represent a Treecks here, so... The number I can make black, and the line I can make red. There we go. Good representation of a Treecks. Now it looks fine, so let's save the machine, because of course all of the changes also still need to be saved. I want to overwrite the file, yes. First let's take a good look. See if it looks fine. Look at our beautiful machine. Okay, let's try not to get motion sick here. Let's just input the vehicle in the game. As you can see, all of your saved vehicles are now part of the use. And yeah, you can actually input it over any machine, like the Blue Falcon for instance. Then Captain Falcon will actually be driving this machine instead of the Blue Falcon. So let's go test it out on a time attack. Mute City Figure 8, easiest track. The Blue Falcon is no longer part of the Grand Prix. Now we have the Feather. And yes, even custom vehicles, you can actually change color for some reason. I'm not sure how this actually works, how the other 3 colors get handed out randomly, I think. But I'm not sure. Let's just do what we're here for. Race this custom-made vehicle. And let's see if it can actually still control somewhat decently. Okay, I can already feel this machine is rather slow. And the turns are very sensitive. Okay, this kind of machine is not a very good idea to actually race with. It's not the end of the world if you start using it. Every machine you can create is actually able to drive, so even this one should be able to satisfy your needs. However, we can actually make sure we can get more out of this machine by rearranging some settings. I think because of its E-grip, it should be a machine that is actually suited for max acceleration. So let's go see how that actually turns out. Get ourselves into a slide. Yeah, the sensitive turning of this machine also doesn't really make it suited for that, in all honesty. Settings-wise, this machine should be a good slider, but because of its very, very low weight, it's actually way too sensitive in its turning, so... Can't really make these wide turns without bumping into the inner walls, or actually running out of my slide, or going outwards too much. So I think it's safe to say this kind of machine, it is of course possible to get to the end of the race with this kind of machine, but it is definitely not a very well designed machine. Let's go see if we can actually turn this around. See what the difference is. Now let's go for the heaviest part on all of the parts. Creating a machine that is 2220 kilograms in weight. Ah, and this one also still looks awesome. This color scheme is just awesome. Everything looks cool in this. Oh man, this machine is a lot bigger. This is a very big machine. It does not weigh that much for nothing. Now, let's go change the settings as well. Let's try to go for max racing settings. Let's make the body A, so we can get some good cornering out of this thing. Then it's a matter of putting the boost or the grip on A. Now, I think I'll go for the boost. I think that will help me more on Mute City Figure 8. If I keep my machine balanced, I should not need the grip. So, let's do it like this. And let's save this machine as our heavy boy. And since heavy is too long to actually spell, let's call this thing the tank. I always like calling heavy things tanks. Do that in all my games. Wherever something similar can be arranged. So let's input the tank on Captain Falcon's spot this time around. And let's go see if we can actually feel a difference with this machine compared to the other one. Let's go drive this tank. The most heavy machine you can possibly make in this game. And I think I'm gonna go for just regular settings in order to create a regular race. Let's see if this thing feels better. Or that this thing feels just as bad, just in a different way. Let's go see. Okay, cornering is a little bit stiff. But I actually like that a lot more than the sensitive turning that the other machine had. Speed-wise, this thing is also better. It feels I'm gliding over air with this thing, as it is supposed to feel. We are gliding above the ground after all. This is a futuristic racer. In futuristic racers, the machines never have wheels. Yeah, this machine is way better. Probably also going to be a bad machine for later tracks, but in Mute City it actually works fine. I even don't have to hold back in the turns, so the E-grip is not even bothering me. The machine is so heavy that my turns are so stiff I actually don't slip out. Awesome. Therefore, this is a machine you definitely don't want to use on a track where there's a lot of heavy cornering, like Big Hand or Big Foot, for instance. For those tracks, I think this machine is going to be hell. For a track like Mute City Figure 8, this one works fine. Can make ourselves a good time. Yeah, that should be enough. Because remember, people, I'm actually also going to cover the time attack mode in the future. Also between difficulties, while covering the Grand Prix mode, of course. That I plan to do by actually taking on the staff ghosts in this game. But in order to actually take on the staff ghosts, we first need to unlock them. So doing a time attack every once in a while in order to get times good enough to unlock the staff ghosts is also something I'm going to do on my own time. This one, it looks like I was actually able to do in the Let's Play itself. Yeah, as you can see, the third option has now appeared, Staff Ghost. First, you need to get the time that is good enough for the Staff Ghost to even appear. So later on, we can actually also take on these guys. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to beat all of them, but I sure as hell will try. So, and it leaves only one more thing to do. After showing off the lightest possible machine you can make and the heaviest possible machine to make in this game, now let's finally go make our own type of machine. We know how it works, so now we can actually input parts we really like. On the front, I always like machines with pointy ends. Rear, there's also a couple of interesting designs in this one. Ooh, this one looks cool. This one actually comes with parts to the side as well, so it looks like it is skiing. Awesome. But let's see what more we have. Okay, this one's a little bit too basic. I like the part with the skis the most. And now let's go for our wing. Okay, one pointy end. Smaller one. This one is double. This one actually has two. This one is more of a wing shape. Also looks awesome. And the final two are spoilers. But we've already seen the spoiler on the heavy machine, so let's go for a different one. It's going to be one of the middle three, I think. Yeah, let's go with this one. So, design-wise, I think this is the most favorite machine I could make. Now, let's go change up the line design. I also like to make that my favorite. Ooh, awesome. This one actually fully colors the thing. The fifth option. And my mark is going to be... It's tempting to go for this one, but I think I want to honor this game. I'm gonna go for the X mark. Because I always like to say X marks the spot. Stat-wise, I think I want to go for an E body. So I have more room for the actual good stats. Boost I don't really care about, but I do care about grip. So ECA, I think, is my preferred way of creating settings. So let's save it. Since this is the perfect machine to make design-wise, I'm going to call this one Awesome. And it even fits. Thank you. Now we're going to... Oh, I first need to input it, of course. No. Control stick Y. Awesome. On Falcon spot, so we can actually drive with the man himself. And now let's go pick a different track, because we've already unlocked the Staff Ghost on Figure 8, so it would be a waste playing it there. Let's go unlock the Staff Ghost of Psychedelic Experience, Rainbow Road, with this awesome machine. Oh man, it looks beautiful. Now let's go see how it actually feels. Excuse me if I'm going to stay silent for a little while. I'd like to enjoy this music, if you don't mind. Of course, I will say a few things. I'm still here to actually test out this vehicle. So far, it feels pretty basic, in all honesty. Like a lot of vehicles do in this game. A lot of regular vehicles, with that I mean. Kind of feels like the Mighty Hurricane, if I need to be honest. Roger Buster's machine, which we have not unlocked yet. Kind of feels like that machine. 44 seconds. Yeah, grip-wise this machine is actually really good. Yeah, I can easily keep this turn. Let's boost twice here. Yeah, these are all tricks we're going to see later when the actual time attack content of this project will begin. Then I will obviously start talking about where the most ideal spots are to start boosting and stuff like that. How to actually approach these tracks. Double boost here, so we don't have to go off track in order to jump. Land with your nose lifted a little bit, so you don't lose speed on the hill. Dang it! Yeah, even the best machines, grip-wise, lose their grip if you go fast enough. Don't think you can actually create a machine in this game where no sliding can happen. That is impossible. If you go fast enough, every machine will eventually start sliding. And unless you're driving around with max acceleration stats, that is actually something you don't want. So, my apologies. This is not Staff Ghost run yet, so I don't have to do a perfect race. Just good enough in order to unlock it. This should be good enough. I'm not sure what the times are in order to unlock the Staff Ghosts. That part of the project has not been reached yet, so I have not looked up those times yet. But later on I will. But anyway, this is not time attack coverage yet, even though it does look like it now. This was all for the Create Machine mode. And now that we have seen how it works, created 3 different machines in it, you can kind of understand the possibilities of the Create Machine mode. And therefore we can conclude this episode. See you folks next time, when we will continue with Standard mode. The Grand Prix will return next time. This was a loose episode for some extra coverage. Treecks out.